So we're going to bring what we studied just now to the next level. Now we're going to look at specific flows. When I'm designing, I'm not just designing a screen, right? I'm designing an entire flow. Because to move one screen to the next screen, it is usually an action that happens or something happens. And I'm designing for the entire flow for the user. So onboarding is a type of flow, right? Checkout is a type of flow. Sign up is a type of flow. So how do you write copy to move the user along in the entire flow is the primary job as a designer. We're going to look at some examples of flows, right? So this is Twitch. This is a sign up flow, right? Welcome to Twitch. Log in or sign up, right? This is super basic, super clear. You don't need anything else. Typically, these are the two actions, two CTAs that you have. And then once the user clicks log in or sign up in this case, you notice what are the copy and the things I have to write to tell the user what's happening. Right, so this downward arrow, right, this indicates that you can press that button, right? And then, of course, the highlighting of the input field, that's something you need to be aware of as a designer. And then this in the same color, right, this is also a CTA, and it's in bold, right? It says use email instead, right? It puts the verb in front. What does it tell you? It tells you, oh, I don't want to use my phone number. I want to log in or sign up using my email instead. You use a visual cue to let them know that it came to email. So this is very short and very clear copy. Why? Because you don't have space. Especially when you click this, the numpad comes up and it blocks even more of the screen space. So it's super important to let the user know what they can do in a very concise way, right? This is the second principle. It has to be concise. Include your country code and use the device you trust. This is, I guess, assisted copy. It's kind of like a tooltip, but they sort of put it up front. Right? So this is sign up flow. And then once they key in, you notice what is this? This is a loading state. Right, this is loading confirmation. So instead of a message, it just tells you that, okay, this is verified and it's okay. Continue down the sign up flow. As they key in, right, you notice there's also a copy here. It says it's strong. It tells you that the password they've chosen is a strong password, and that's good. It validates the user's action. Visibility of status, it tells you, okay, you know what, you've done, key in the password, and then date of birth. By clicking sign up, you are indicating that you have read and acknowledged the terms of service and privacy. So what kind of copy is this? Disclaimer copy, right? We talked about it. And there's also a typography involved, right? So this is clickable, right? Because this end is here and the end is in neutral, you know that these two go to different places, right? So these are visual cues, but as a writer, you need to understand this as well. So once this is done, they click sign up, and then this is a confirmation message, right? Confirmation message with CTA. And hit cancel. What do you notice about the two buttons? They have different visual styles, right? Why? Because the cancel is a secondary action that you don't really need to click most of the time. Confirm is the primary. And then message and data feeds may apply to messages sent by Twitch. This is also a disclaimer copy, right? Because if you don't let the user know this, and then they are charged 20 cents for the SMS, they're going to call Twitch, hey, why did you charge my 20 cents? And if 10 million users do this, it's going to cost a lot of money for your customer service team. So you put this disclaimer up front so that they don't call you back, right? I use the word may apply. If your telco charges you, then okay, at least we put a disclaimer up here. So this tells you confirm your number and you press confirm. And then this is a loading stage. And because it's moving, maybe you don't need a loading message and that's okay. So this is an example of a flow. And then what happens? Enter your verification code. We send the code to your phone number. Your code will expire in 5 minutes, right? So you notice there are different types of hierarchy of font from the title. Enter your verification code. What do you notice is very short. It starts with the verb, right? That's front loading. That's a heuristic. And I'll talk about heuristics next week. How do you write in a way that the user doesn't have to read a lot, and you put the most important information up front. So that's a design principle. Your code will expire in 5 minutes. Twitch may use a phone number to call or send text messages and information regarding your account. Also disclaimer copy. And then you notice the submit button. There are two states. Right? The first state of submit is blanked out. You can't click on it, right? Yet. Why? Because you haven't keyed in any code. And even if you key in 4 numbers, maybe it's also not purple yet. So if you key in the right number of code, six letters, then the submit will appear. So that is also user validation. It's more design, but that's okay. Right, so this numpad is iOS feature. So iOS also has a copy from here. If it's just 453179, I'm not sure what to do with this because I don't know whether I can click it or not. But if I put the prompt messages, okay, my messages have this number. And if I want to clear, I can just press this and it will just go in. Loading stage. And you notice this, you're done. This is a success message. It doesn't really tell you that you're done, strangely, but it says melted ice cream is uncool, just like missing your favorite stream. Which is a bit strange and so creative copy, but that's Twitch. I mean, if you know Twitch, their brand is very casual. They use cats, they use different things. You notice this kind of copy is very different from this kind of copy, right? This is creative copy, right? And you can do whatever you want with it. But this copy has to be very clear. Turn on notifications, remind me later, meaning I want to deal with this now. You can change that anytime you like. So this is called very, very important copy here. This is assurance copy, right? It's also a heuristic. It is not part of any of those that we mentioned earlier, right? It doesn't seem like it's any of these, right? What does it do? It tells you can change anytime. Well, it doesn't really quite fall under that, but this is what makes a good UX writer, right? You can anticipate. So this anticipates what the user may be thinking about. So I think, oh, if I turn it on now, will I turn it on forever? What if next time it's too much? You're giving me 10 notifications every day. I don't want so many, right? So you want the user to do this action, which is turn on notifications, while being assured that they can change anytime. So if I'm not happy with it, I can change anytime in the iOS setting. So this reassures the user and encourages them to press this button instead. All right, and then once you sign up, you bring you to the onboarding copy, discover your new home for recommended streams based on what you watch on Twitch, and then continue and so on. So this is the full sign-up flow for Twitch. And there's a lot of different types of components that have different copy in them. So it's very important as a designer to know what they should be. So another one is Uniqlo. So this is the checkout flow. I think it's from the yeah, it's probably from the web app. Because if it's an app, it shouldn't say click, it would say tap. So these are all the placeholder text. To be honest, you actually don't really need a placeholder text with the first name. Please enter a valid first name. I mean, right? Like it's like meaning somebody, hey, tell me your real full name. You just tell me your name, right? You don't really need it. But I think maybe because Uniqlo is a Japanese app, so they're very polite, right? You notice there's a lot of please everywhere, right? Whereas Twitch, there was no please. There's a lot of please on this page. Please check your shipping address. Please enter a valid first name. Please enter your city. Having issues with checkout, IQ chat account. I think this is pretty useful. It tells me that if I have an issue, I can click the IQ chat, right? Which I assume is the Uniqlo chatbot. You know, this same kind of copy come up, right? This is also the disclaimer copy saying that if there's any issues, we might contact you if you have questions by order delivery option and so on. Right, and then this is a checkbox. So you have to write this kind of copy as well, set as my default delivery address to allow the user to not key in the future. Right, so it's also a different type of copy. Right, they have a close below the icon X. Right, maybe they are working with people who are maybe not as digitally native. They don't understand that cross is to close it, so they put it there. But then for iOS or for Chrome or Safari, there is no such copy. So you will notice that, okay, some of the designs are a bit different. I don't know why this DR is in red. There are issues with the address provided marked in bold. The issues suggest the address or edit address you entered, which is good. So this is actually an error message, right? But there is no accompanying icon to tell me there's an error message. So I'm looking at this and I can't really tell what's going on. And then if I read this, then I realize, there are issues. Then I realize, okay, I need to edit this to include this. So this is actually the correct one, and this is not the right one I entered. You select the address. This is your primary CTA. And then this is a tooltip. Right? If you click this, something will happen, and then you can see what this information is about. And then we see that this is an I, this is a question mark. Why did the designer choose to use two different icons? I don't know. Right? I think it should be the same. Please select payment options. This is okay, I guess. But there's no icons for all of these. There's a thing called marketing copy as well. To get free shipping for in-store pickup orders, definitely from marketing, because as a UX writer, I wouldn't all caps the free shipping. Right? I would just say get free shipping or free shipping or in-store pickup. I don't even need the word get. Go straight to the point. So place order. This is the most important button in the entire app. So where I work, right, we will do tests for these kind of buttons. Instead of place order, if I put confirm order, that might just increase by 3%. And 3% out of like 200 million is a $6 million decision. Right? So changing words can have very big impact on your business. Another tip and trick, if you're a UX writer, so let's say if you don't want your engineers are lazy and there's only one item, you can do this thing with an S. So whether it's one item or many items, it doesn't matter. So that's okay. And you notice, what is this? This is the tooltip. And this helps guide the user, tell them, okay, where this security code is. Because sometimes they don't know what it is. Sometimes you might see it's a 3-letter code found at the back or front of your credit card, right? You might see that sometimes. But in this case, they decided to use a visual to replace that copy. Check out once you've ordered, order number, estimated delivery time, shipping subtotal, tax, order total, and so on. This is very interesting. It is a button, but it doesn't really look like a button. So I guess it's telling me if I don't want to sell my information, I can click that. But it's in title case. So there's something called cases. This title case, this sentence case. And that's in title case, which is very strange. So this is a thank you message. If I were the UX writer, I would just say thank you for your purchase. Your order is received, maybe. That's it. Right. So Uniqlo's app, it's not bad, I would say, but there are points where you can improve. And so this is an example of looking at entire flow, right, and identifying and trying to think as a UX writer what I should write, where I should write, how I should write, and why I'm writing it in that way. We're going to part 3 now. And part 3 is about information architecture. So as a content designer, you are designing content. And designing content means you are in charge of how the information is displayed, how it's organized, how you interact with it, how your users navigate with it. So information architecture is also known as IA for short. It has been around for a long time, ever since websites in what is called sitemaps. So, for example, how do you categorize people that you know? For me, I have friends I know from university, family members, relatives, and then colleagues from maybe one work time, and then colleagues from another company, maybe childhood friends, schoolmates, maybe acquaintances, maybe friends that I meet online, friends of friends, I don't know. So in our head, we categorize this information, right? It's the same for apps or for websites or for products that we use. So helping people to bucket these information, it's super important, and it's called information architecture. To put it simply, information architecture shows where you should put information that is connected with other information. It is kind of like a mind map, right? So as you navigate, let's say if it's an internet, you have news, you have people, you have onboarding, you have wiki, and then it goes down and so on and so forth. So there are layers and there are arrows, there are entry points, there are exit points. So as an information architect, you are responsible for organizing, structuring, and labeling content in a way that will make it easy for users to find the necessary information. So, for example, we have that computers, phones, and accessories. iPhone 14 will fall under phones, a Magic Mouse will fall under accessories, Google Pixel fall under phones, and a MacBook will fall under computers. Right? So this is hardware, but when you bring this to a website or bring this to an app, how are you going to categorize an information? Spotify, for instance, you have playlists, you have podcasts, you have your own playlist, you have podcast recommendations, you have your daily playlists, you have songs, albums, discography, you have radio, you have different types of features. How to organize it is super important for Spotify because it determines what goes on a homepage, how your users interact with it. Right? So as content designers, you are partly responsible. The other responsibility comes with the designer. So when I work with my designer, we redesign the Stash Away app. I need to decide, okay, which products go where and what to call those products. So you work hand in hand with the designer for that. Now, how do you create information architecture? You need to know who's using your content. So your target audience, you need to know how they're using it, and you need to know what do they want to do. Right? Your persona is important. As designers, you might already be familiar with personas, which is who are the groups and the demographics using your app. It could be someone very young, a Gen Z. It could be someone not familiar with how to use mobile devices. It could be people with maybe a lot of money to spend, maybe not so much money to spend. It could be people who like a certain kind of music. So knowing your people really helps you design your information architecture. So this is Spotify, for example. They update it all the time, right? Spotify updates the information architecture all the time. A bit annoying, to be honest, because I cannot navigate properly sometimes. After 3 months, I'm like, where is my save playlist again? But this is an example of how you would do it. You have home, you have browse, you have search, you have radio, you have your library. So that's how they kind of do it, right? The ones in green are repeated sections. What that means is you are able to see some of these in different places. So there are separate entry points. Recently played, I can probably see it in more than one place. Your daily mix, maybe I can see your homepage as well as your library. Stations, I think now there's no more stations. They probably got rid of it. This is an example of an information architecture. So this is the revised one, right? Stations is still there, maybe my library, discover, search, radio, and this is just how they do it.